All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar hosted by Inclined. Today, we're going to show you all a deep dive into the process of accessing your whole life cash value with Inclined via the Inclined line of credit. We have some new people on the call, so we'll start with a little bit about Inclined, and we're going to give it just a couple minutes here to get allow people to join. We've still got a lot of people joining. All right. Hopefully everybody's able to see my screen here. As I mentioned, we do have some new people on the call, so we're going to start with a little bit about Inclined. Here's our agenda for today. Next, we'll move into a refresher on the iLock features and eligibility. For those of you who have been working with us for quite some time, this will just be a little refresher, but for those who are new, this should be really useful. We'll also talk about identifying the right fit clients for the Inclined line of credit. We want you all sending us clients that will have a really great experience with us and with what we have to offer right now. Next, we're going to go into a deeper dive on our process. And so we're going to cover some of the details. I know there's a lot of interest from especially the associates on the call. We've heard this a lot from you. And so this part of the process is really for you and for those who are helping your clients through the process of applying for an Inclined line of credit. And we'll also give you a complete tour of the advisor portal and give you a little glimpse of also what it's like for your clients, their portal when they're logged in and looking at their active lines of credit. And then we'll finish off with some next steps on how to get started with Inclined. So with that, we wanted to start with a bit of an interactive piece here. We want to know what's the hardest part of servicing policy loans. So as we're giving people just another few seconds here to join, we'd love to hear from you all, just a little bit of feedback on what takes the most out of your time when it comes to policy loans. What's the hardest part for you all? Lots of good answers coming in. And I still see that we've got some people joining. So if you're just joining us, go ahead and take a moment to just answer the poll that's on the screen. We're asking, what is the hardest part of servicing policy loans? We'll give it about 10 more seconds. All right, love seeing all these answers come through. Let me go ahead and share the results with everybody. So very interesting, certainly challenging being the middleman between the home office and the client. And Monica, I saw you shaking your head. You can definitely feel that pain, especially from the AFRs who are on the call. All right. Looks like we've got quite a few people who have joined now. So let me go ahead and introduce our team. On the call today, we have our presenters, Brenda Mark, as well as Monica Kerber. They are our senior account executives. Brenda she represents Mass Mutual, Guardian, and Independent Advisors. If you are with Northwestern Mutual, you probably already know Monica Kerber's name. She's your correct person to go to. And then new to our team are Izzy Lenka and James Hoffman, our new associate account executives, who are joining the force and really helping Brenda and Monica support you all in everything that we're doing here at Inclined. And so we'll have their contact information available on the final slide so that you can reach out to them if you need anything as well. And when you send your clients to Inclined, we really become an extension of your team, and we take great pride in taking good care of your clients. These are the faces that are behind our support team. Alyssa, Kayla, Katie, Heather, and Carmine. They are all amazing people who are eager to help your clients with opening their iLocks, whatever clients questions that they have, whatever questions you have. Feel free to reach out. And later on in the presentation, we're also going to have the right place to direct your questions and concerns throughout the process so that you know who to reach out to at the right time in the application process or in just serving your clients well. And with that, I'll hand it over to Monica.
Thanks, Elena. I want to mention between our sales and our operations team here at Incline, we actually have a combined over 60 years of former experience in field offices with the insurance carriers that we support. So please know when you call in and you're working with us, we get your world and we're here to make it better. Now let's talk a little bit about Incline and what makes us different. What makes us different is we're not the bank. We are what's referred to as a fintech SaaS company. What that means is we've built a technology platform that sits in the middle. On one side are our insurance carriers, clients, advisors, and on the others, banks and credit unions.
You're muted, Brenda.
There we go. Thanks, Elena. So why the clients love the iLock. For policy owners, it is so easy to apply and use. That's one of the biggest reasons. We have some of the lowest minimums in the entire lending world for this product. And for us, we can apply with a client. It takes a client 5 minutes. I think on this it says 15 minutes, but it really only takes a client about 5 minutes if you've pre-filled their policy numbers for them, which is probably the most time-consuming part of the whole application. We use something that's different from everyone else. We do use a system that does facial recognition. So they scan their identification and their face, which makes it very simple and is a lot more preventative for any type of fraud that might happen. And then once they have the line of credit in place, it is set it and forget it. We review every policy that's pledged twice a year. So we look at those policies today, a week after their anniversary, and again mid-year. And we go to the back office for that information. So you guys don't have to send us anything. We have a data feed with 2 of our carriers, and we are hoping to have that with all of the carriers. And as we grow with the new carriers, we might add. So it makes it very simple. And then you want us to go to the next one? There we go. Thanks. So there's no credit bureau reporting. We do use a credit score. The minimum score is 620, so also fairly low in this industry. And there's no required payments. What that means is interest on the balance that's outstanding. It is due each month for your clients. But if they have availability on their line, they don't have to pay the interest. They can let that accrue onto the line of credit. That is the default method. So if they're traveling and they forget, or they haven't set up automatic payments, or maybe they're just using it for something specific. We have a lot of clients who borrow for a project. They will let the interest ride for the entire project. And once that's completed and maybe sold or the investment has paid back, then they'll pay down the line and they'll move on to the next one. And then the competitive rates and no fees. So our rates are some of the most competitive you'll find out there. And we don't charge any fees, no origination, no maintenance fees, no closure fees. And we also don't have any utilization requirements.
A few other eligible criteria to keep in mind. So individuals who apply must be U.S. residents. We don't support 2 states currently, Iowa or Maryland, or any U.S. territories. As Brenda mentioned, they do need a FICO of 620 or higher. I just want to reiterate this. The FICO is an inquiry, a soft and a hard inquiry, but we do not report the iLock itself as credit to the credit bureau as debt, which is honestly what clients really care about. So make sure that you reiterate that when you're talking to them. A few things about the policies. If your clients are pledging a Northwestern Mutual policy, they can use any form of whole life. We also now support custom universal life. So anything UL in the general portfolio we can take, they just have to be personally owned, and your clients can blend those policies. So if they have 65 life and a UL and they own them, they can put it all on one line. With Mass Mutual and Guardian, we do have a seasoning. Policies have to be at least 1 year old. And again, our minimums are the lowest. It's 5,000 of credit limit. And then we have some higher minimums in some other states, as you see there. We also can support ILETs. So anything that is an irrevocable trust that is not in a state of Maryland, Iowa, New York, Oklahoma, or Louisiana, we can take. We are still currently in pilot with those, with the ILET, the irrevocable trust. So if you have those in your book and you'd like to talk about it, please email Brenda and I, and we will help you. All policies have to be in good standing. So please make sure to tell your clients they have to pay their premiums on time, and we will not take a MEC.
So what's coming and where we are today? So some of the more recent updates we made, a few months ago, we added team access to the advisor portal. So this gives you, your advisors, and maybe an expanded team, everyone line of sight on your clients. You are able to see from the time that you request that introduction go out to your clients, you're able to follow that all the way through the application process. You can see when the application has been submitted, if we're waiting for documents, if we're waiting for a signature, maybe we're waiting for the final assignment. And then once it's been finalized, you're able to view the balance and the credit limit and the current interest rate. And then, of course, we dropped our minimum cash value requirement of $25,000 down to a minimum line limit of $5,000, which is about $5,300 of cash value, and clients can combine policies to meet that minimum. We can take an unlimited number of policies. I know a lot of you work with those clients. They've got a dozen, a dozen different policies. And if they want to combine those, they can. We are looking for the ownership. So as long as the same person owns them, then we can put them under that line of credit. And then I'll get to the next step of that in just a moment. They also, the custom universal life that Monica mentioned, and trust owned. Trust owned policies must be irrevocable. On that prior slide, I did catch it said single trustee, and that's how we began. We are taking multiple trustees. If you have those irrevocable trust owned policies, let us know, because there are some states that still have some specific weird restrictions, and we can let you know about those. What's coming and what's already happened is householding. We are calling it line merge. And what that's allowing us to do now, if you have husband and wife or business partners or two people that had a joint line maybe somewhere else, or want to have their lines in one single line of credit, they can do that today. What it would require is each owner would apply separately. And once those applications are approved and finalized, they can request they be merged together. We are working towards making that available to everyone, and it may take a little bit of time, but please bear with us as we grow and expand. And then entity owned is coming. So by sometime in 2025, we should be able to accept all of your business owned or entity owned policies. And then more frequent credit limit increases. As we get the data feed of values on a more frequent basis and from all the carriers, it will allow us to be more flexible and provide more frequent increases than our current twice per year.
All right, some important things to keep in mind. First of all, don't forget to follow your internal compliance guidance. So whatever your compliance advisors and associates has told you that you need to do in order to share third-party information, please make sure you do that. And then the next thing that you're going to want to do besides signing up for the portal, if you're not on there already, is to run your policy loan report. If you don't have instructions for how to do that and you're with Northwestern Mutual, send us an email. We have step-by-step instructions and we can help you with that. And I think we also have it for Mass Mutual. So if you have trouble finding how to do that, reach out to us. We're happy to give you those instructions. For those associates on the call today or the webinar today, you will be the hero of of the month when you walk into your advisor's office or your team's office with a report that says, look, here are all the clients we have with policy loans that meet all of the criteria at Inclined that we could clean up for year end. And for those of you appointed with Northwestern Mutual, you know that persistency is really important, and you have a bonus that's coming at the end of the year that we want to help you with. Just remember, we don't support Iowa or Maryland. And again, if it's trust owned, reach out to Brenda and I will give you any of the specific restrictions that you're going to want to know. And then you can start to send your clients an introduction to apply. It's that easy. So a brief overview, and then we're going to dive deep with our friend David here, who's going to actually give you guys a tour of the portal, which is so excited. I'm so excited. But in a nutshell, here's an overview. First, get on the portal. Then get your whole team on the portal. To the extent that the whole team is on the portal, you're all going to be able to leverage us as fast as possible because we're really, really fast. We activated a line in August in 24 hours, and that is because the entire team is fully onboarded on the portal and they really understand how to work with us and the process. And the client was also very urgent. So we're super fast when everybody's onboarded with us. Advisors and associates can then immediately introduce their clients. So you have 100% opportunity to self-serve. You don't have to call anyone. You don't have to email anyone. You can just get it out the door and off the to-do list. And then for policy owners, it's really simple. They can then apply again, like Brenda mentioned, it's 100% online. Even signatures, for the most part, are all e-signatures. So there's just not a lot of paper or clunky back and forth that your clients are going to have to experience. And then once the application is approved, your clients get to link their bank account and they're off and running with us. So a few little details step by step of what it is going to look like for your clients. Once you click send introduction through your portal, which you're going to see it in a minute live, that link is going to land in your client's inbox. They'll click that link and it's going to drop them right into their application. Once they complete their online application, it's going to fall into the submitted category. Our team is then going to take them through the pre-approval process. I have seen pre-approval happen within the same hour and the same day for clients. So we're really fast typically with pre-approval. Once your clients are pre-approved, then they're going to get a final look at what their ILOC agreement is, and they can say yes to that or not. And when they agree to that, they're going to sign the collateral assignment forms and the ILOC agreement with us. And then once that happens, their line is going to be active. If for some reason they're bringing policies from a previous assignment, so they've been pledged somewhere else, another bank intermediary, they're going to have to release that assignment first. And we'll talk to you a little bit here near the end about what that looks like. Or right now, Brenda.
Or right now.
Or
I'm
right
gonna
now.
add too, just so you guys are all aware out there, when you request that introduction, the email that your client gets, it comes from us. So we are sending that on your behalf, and that is going to start with your advisor, whoever that is introducing you to Inclined, and it's going to tell them about our company. It's going to give them an overview of the line of credit program and then the option to apply. So don't think that you're sending it and it's coming from you guys and that's a compliance issue or something. It is not. Introducing us just as you would introduce them to any other lender, only we just have a different method of delivery. So that email does come from Inclined. And then if they're with a third party, and many clients are, they have existing lines of credit that they've been using that they may have balances on. What needs to happen is they will transfer any balance back to the carrier as policy loans, and we can help you with some of the language or where to send those requests or to help your clients. And then once it's sent back to the carrier and it's released, those policies are released, at that point we step in and we will submit our assignments. And then once we are confirmed, we would pay off any then created policy loans. Of course, if there's no third party and they have a policy loan, that's just part of our closing process. We'll refinance that over to Inclined. Documents. Monica, you want to start?
Sure. So there are some specific documents that we're always going to request. One thing that we want to really reinforce is that we can accept documents up front. So for those of you, when you're in the portal and you send your client the introduction to apply, run these documents and email them to us. Once your client applies, we'll be able to attach these documents to their application. And what this does is it speeds up the process, and it helps you not to have an additional email from us later where you have to do additional follow-up. So for Northwestern Mutual, these are the tried and true, every single time, exactly what we're going to ask you for. For whole life, we are going to need the PDR. PDR stands for the Policy Data Review. Oftentimes people have a hard time finding it because it's a very old document. Looks like it's from the 80s because it probably is. So if you've never ran it or you don't know where it is, email us because we have step-by-step instructions for you and we'll tell you how to find it. We are also going to request the individual IFLs on each policy that they pledge. Don't send us the composite. We can't take it. We need the individual IFLs. And then we need the CCV, the Consolidated Client View. You all know this report, but there's something very important in this report that we need you to do. When you go in to run it and you scroll down about a quarter of a way down the page, there's a little box you check. It's a custom object that says available loan amount. Please check that because we absolutely need that. If we get the CCV without it, we're going to request that you run it again with that custom object. And then we also need the billings page. We don't need the other stuff. We don't look at it. We don't care about it. So you can send us the whole thing or not. But the most important thing in the CCV is that we need the billing page and the custom objects for the available loan amount. For Universal Life, we need the same thing on the individual IFLs in the CCV. And then we will have you request what's called a low point letter. You cannot run the low point letter inside of your Northwestern Mutual system. This needs to be requested from Advanced Markets at the home office. So you'll need to call Advanced Markets and request the low point letter. Don't worry, they do it all the time. They know exactly what they're doing. It just may take them a couple days to turn that around. So if you know a client is urgent and you know that they're pledging UL, call Advanced Markets right away and request that letter.
Okay. For Guardian, we use the policy status page, and that is the client manager version, which has all information. And we also require today an in-force illustration, the IFL. We hope to see that eliminated over the next few months, but today it is necessary. For Mass Mutual, we use a policy value letter. This is something you have to request from the back office. It's not something you can run directly, but we use the policy value letter and again, the in-force illustration. So one less document for Guardian and Mass that we need.
Okay, and before we move forward, I'm just going to pause here for a moment. One of our housekeeping items that I neglected to go over is if you have questions, feel free to post them in the Q&A box. I'm going to pause here for just a moment, just in case anybody has questions about the documents specifically. I know that this is one of our most frequently asked topics is regarding documents. So if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the box now and we'll answer those now. We'll also have a separate Q&A session at the end. I'm not seeing any come in, so apparently you all are experts on the docs. Great to know. We'll go ahead and move forward.
So where to send the documents? If you haven't sent them to our team, Monica or I or our associates up front, you can send those to docs@inclined.com. And then any questions on an open application, or if you have policy changes, someone's changing their dividends, someone's going paid up, they're partially surrendering some PUAs, anything like that, that would require us as the assignee to sign off, those all go to support@inclined.com. And then there's always the help center. So you get clients asking you, how do I link my bank account? I can't figure out how to set up an automatic payment. And if they're calling you, this is a really good link to save to send to them. This gets them over to the help center or the knowledge center. They can enter their question in the search and it will pull up the article and the instructions step by step to help them through all of those things.
Thanks for that, ladies. With that, we are really excited for this part and having David, our product manager, give us an overview of the Inclined Advisor portal as well as the experience that your clients will have. So, David, I'm going to stop sharing. That way you're able to. And in the meantime, if you do have questions, feel free to plug those into the Q&A box. We'll answer some as we go, and then there will be a Q&A session at the end.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Elena. I appreciate the introduction. And for anyone who hasn't had the opportunity to meet me yet on the call, my name is David Gakian. I'm the product manager here at Inclined. And so I kind of oversee the development of all the front-end facing software that you all interact with. So be that the advisor portal, be that the application flow for your clients, and then also their client experience that we'll go through today. All right. Before we get started, can everyone see my screen? Am I showing the advisor portal? Lovely. All right. Well, wonderful. I'm really excited to take you all through this. I think we have some really exciting new functionality that the team has mentioned kind of earlier about what we support in the advisor portal. And so first off, I'd like to just take you all through an overview of our advisor portal dashboard. Here, you'll see that we have a summary of our current rate card. And the way you can read this rate card is because all of the introductions that we send out today are a variable rate line. You'll see today's prime rate, which is the variable rate that, depending on the margin of the line, will be pegged to. And then you'll see the different rate tiers that we offer. So depending on the credit limit that your client will receive, will determine the rate that they receive from our rate card. And so you can see all of those different rate tiers here just in your advisor portal, and we keep these always up to date. So as prime rate changes, we update this the same, if not the next day. All right. And then as we move down the dashboard on the advisor portal, you'll see we have two kind of primary buttons here that you all have the opportunity to interact with. The first is, of course, sending an introduction. So when you have a new client that you think would be a great fit for Inclined, you can go and click the Send Introduction button, and this will take you into our introduction form. I won't do that just yet. We'll jump into that in a little bit. And then also, if you're ever interested or want to refresh on what our eligibility opportunities are and which clients would be a good fit for Inclined, you can come here and click the policy eligibility button, and that'll take you to an overview of that we keep here in the advisor portal. And again, that is updated all the time as we continue to release new features, functionalities, and support for more of your clients. All right. And as we move down the dashboard, you'll see the client list. And I've gone ahead and staged a bunch of different loans and applications here so that you can see what this looks like over the course of a single client's journey or for your entire portfolio of clients that are on Inclined. I think the first thing, and we'll start from the bottom, when you send an introduction, you will see that introduction here in your client list. And let's say you sent an introduction a week ago and your client just hasn't had a chance to get around to it. Well, if they can't find that email, we have this ability to resend that introduction email right here from your portal. So you can just put it right back to the top of their inbox for them by coming into the Inclined portal. Also, in the introduction, we always recommend that you all provide the recommended policies that your clients will be using to collateralize the line of credit. And when you hover over this introduction, you'll see that those recommended policies that you entered here are going to be shown here for your review. And again, if you have a question from your client and they asked, oh, which policies do you recommend I use? And you don't remember which ones you typed into their application, if they have many and say they're only bringing a few of them to Inclined, you can come and just hover over this and you'll see exactly which policies you recommended they use for their Inclined line of credit. Once your client has actually started the application, you'll see their progress update from introduction to application started. You'll also see how long they've been working on the application. As Brenda mentioned earlier, the application takes less than 5 minutes. So this should never get more than one day. We certainly hope not, but if it does and you need to give a nudge to any of your clients, you can do so and see how long they've been working on the application here in the portal. Once that application has been submitted, you'll see your progress for that client transition to submitted for review. And again, this is now where our team is going through and doing our pre-approval process that Monica was mentioning earlier. This is what can happen honestly within an hour of our team getting to it, assuming that the application is submitted during the day. And so we'll take the application through submitted for review. Our team will go through the initial pre-approval process, and then the line moves to underwriting. And in order to underwrite, this is where we need the policy documents. So having those policy documents up front helps us get straight to underwriting once pre-approval is complete. Otherwise, the gap between submitted for review and underwriting may take a couple days while we wait for those policy documents from you all. And that's totally okay. But the quicker those documents come to us, the quicker we can get this line underwritten and back out to your client to where they can just approve, view their credit limit, and sign their documents. And so that'll be the next step. Once we go through underwriting, we'll then send an email back to your client, and you'll receive this too, letting them know that they've been approved for an Inclined line of credit and that they can come accept their offer for the Inclined line of credit and sign the documents required to activate their line. Once they've signed those documents, the next progress update you'll see in your portal is that we're processing the final assignment. So this is where we're taking that collateral assignment form that your clients signed during this step, and we're submitting that to the carrier. We're allowing that carrier to process that collateral assignment form, and then we're getting one document per policy back just to confirm that the assignment was listed appropriately. Once we have that, then the line moves to activated, and your client can actually start to draw and use their line. I've gone ahead and shown two versions of what an activated line looks like in the Inclined Advisor portal here today. You'll see Cora Nash is a great example. She's got a $500,000 line that was activated on October 10th. And you'll see that she has a 6.5% effective rate right now. And when we hover over that rate, you're even going to see how will that rate change when the promotional offer expires. You'll see what date does it expire, things like that. So you'll notice because she has a $500,000 line amount, she's in this $200,000 to $1 million rate card bucket that we have, which is prime minus 150 bips. And so that's why her effective rate here with today's prime rate of 8% is 6.5. And so you'll have access to all of this information for your clients. If they're ever asking you questions on what is my rate, what's my margin, what's prime at today, things like that, you can come and get all of that information here in the advisor portal. You can also have visibility on how they're utilizing their line. So if your client has a current balance on their line of credit, you'll see that balance here in the Inclined Advisor portal. So for example, we have Melvin here who hasn't used his line yet, maybe set it up proactively because he knows he has an investment coming. And then we have Cora who is using her line already. Perhaps this was a refi, or perhaps she's just already made one or a few draws. All right. So that is a quick overview of the client list and the different application steps that are shown throughout the client list, just so that you all have as much visibility into our process and the progress to getting your client's line of credit activated as quickly as possible. And the next thing that I'd like to talk through is the feature that we released at the end of last year that Brenda mentioned earlier, which was adding team access on the advisor portal. I don't know if many of you caught this, but you'll see that there are a few different advisors listed on this client list. You'll see we have David Guckian, myself, and then let's say my colleague, Richard Smith, who is on my team or perhaps in my ensemble. So this portal supports having an entire team in one place where you can share a single portal and all support each other with your shared resources, let's say your shared staff members. And the way you do that is by going to the business element. So in order to set up a portal, One person comes to Inclined from the team and creates an account. Once they create an account, they will immediately have access to this dashboard and everything in the Inclined portal. But let's say I came as a financial advisor and created my account, and now I want to add the other financial advisors on my team and perhaps our staff members that support the line of credit processing. So what I would do is I would come into the business element of my advisor portal, and I come down to this section for share and access. And what you'll see is I've already got one of my business partners here, Richard, who I've added access to into this advisor portal. So when Richard comes and tries to log in, he is going to be able to come and see the exact same things that I can see in the portal today. And then the same for our associates. I have Amanda and John who work on our team. And let's say Amanda supports just me and John supports both Richard and I. I can customize all of that here in the portal and we can build out your team structure. So let's, for argument's sake, say Amanda no longer works for our team. We can take away her access to the portal by just deleting and confirming, and now Amanda no longer has access to this portal. Let's say someone new on my team has joined, or a member of my team who didn't usually work with lines of credit would like to have access to the portal because they're being trained up on that. The easiest way to add them, and what we recommend, is anyone who has portal access comes in, logs in, comes to the business element, and they add the team member. So let's say we have Jane Rogers, who just joined the team, and now we add their email. We are going to specify which advisors this associate support. And so again, this could be myself, it could be Richard, or it could be both of us. So let's go ahead and say Jane is going to come on and support both of us with our line of credit servicing and support for our clients. And we'll hit save, and then we'll hit update. And now if we go back to the business element, what you'll see is Jane has been added to our team. And she is going to receive an email directly from Inclined inviting her to join the portal. So all she has to do is click the link in that email, and she'll be taken through the login process and can immediately come in and join the portal that exists today and see and help service all of the clients that are already in this join portal. If, for example, we added Jane a few weeks ago and she lost that email, again, you can come in here and resend her invite at any point. I think the thing that I would like to call out the most here is we only need one person from everyone's team to come in and create a portal. Once that first person on the team has created a portal, they can invite everyone and manage their team by coming into this business element. And it's all self-serve. So we leave that open to you all so that you can come and make sure that if you have someone that wants to come and join your Inclined portal and support the servicing of your ILOTs, you can all do so in a self-serve fashion through the business element in the Inclined Advisor portal. Awesome.
David, we have just a couple questions. I think it would be timely if you answered them from this.
Perfect. I'm happy to.
So a few questions coming in are related to the email communications from Inclined. So we just saw you add Jane as a team member. Can you speak to, since she's supporting Richard and David there, will she receive all of the emails related to those applications for those advisors?
Absolutely. So that's a great question. The advisor support is actually specifically designed to say who should receive emails when we're reaching out to clients on behalf of a certain advisor. So let's say we're reaching out for documents for one of Richard's clients. In this case, because John and Jane both are marked as supporting Richard, they will both be CC'd on that document request email. If I were to edit this and remove Jane from supporting Richard, she would no longer be CC'd on a document request email regarding one of Richard's clients.
Great. And just to follow up, go a little bit deeper on that, will you show how the advisor is associated with the client in the invitation process?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we can jump right into the invitation. That's kind of the punchline of why everyone comes to the portal, right? There's of course the visibility into the clients, but there's also how do we get your clients onto Inclined and give them the best cash value lending solution that exists in the market. And so when you come to the introduction, you'll of course be asked for your client's first and last name and their email address. We will also specify if they have their policies owned by themselves or by perhaps an irrevocable trust that they have. You'll be asked to give the total estimated policy loan amount. I think the easiest way to think about this is if they have one policy, what's the available loan amount for that policy? That's what this value is. If they have two policies, what's the sum of the two available loan amounts for both of those policies? That's how you can think about this total estimated policy loan amount. And then what you'll be asked to do is specify who is the client's assigned advisor. And this is where, if you have multiple advisors in one portal, for every introduction that you send, you'll need to specify who the advisor is for each introduction and for each client. And I think the thing to note here is the beauty of the Inclined Advisor portal is we don't put any limitations on who can send introductions for who. Me as myself, David Yokian, can come in and I can send an introduction to one of my clients and specify that I am the client on record. Let's say my associate, John, could come in and send one on my behalf. Or Jane, even though she doesn't support me, can come in and send an introduction to a client of mine on my behalf as well. And so, regardless of who you support, it doesn't change who you can select as an assigned advisor for a client. You can step in and help fill the gaps if, let's say, someone's out on vacation or something like that. We try to make it and leave it as open as possible so that everyone can do every action in the portal. But in terms of email communications, you'll see that because John is the only associate that supports me, both I and John will receive these emails for this client that we're sending the introduction for. Jane would not.
David, I think minds are being blown. We're getting lots of appreciative messages with people saying thank you for explaining this and showing us how the emails work and who's getting copied on what. So hopefully the rest of you are enjoying it as much as some of the people who are sending comments in.
Oh, wonderful. I'm really happy to hear that. And again, I know I spent a lot of time on this, but we think the key to having kind of personalized email communication, making sure that it's correct, and then also making sure that your support model is as accurately reflected as possible, is coming into the advisor portal and updating these associations for which advisors each associate supports, and then going ahead and adding your kind of full team in here. The thing that I'd like to call out is if you add a team member, like let's say I added John, they never have to come and log into Inclined. They'll still be CC'd on everything. They don't have to come create an account, but they have the option to. And the important thing is that they are CC'd on everything, even if they don't create the account, right? Because they are a member of the team and they are going to receive all of the information that we send out to that team. So that's just one thing I'd like to call out as well. I know some advisors would prefer to not come into the advisor portal, and that's okay. They can be added and they can be the advisor on record for clients, but they don't actually have to log into the portal. And that's something that we support. Awesome. Perfect. Well, the last page I'll just quickly highlight is the eligibility requirements. And so again, much of what was covered in the presentation earlier, such as our $5,000 minimum, the states we do and don't support, are all called out here in the advisor portal. We update this every time we put out a new feature. And as we continue to expand our eligibility, this will continue to be updated. But if you ever have any questions on what is our latest eligibility, the place to come is the advisor portal, and you can see that in real time here. All right. Just before I transition to share the client site and give everyone a view into that, are there any questions remaining on the advisor portal?
David, can you show quickly how they can pre-fill the policy numbers? I have been told by associates that that's one of their most favorite features
Oh,
because
yeah,
it helps not have any user error.
for sure. All right. So when we go to send an introduction, let me go ahead and just type in an example. Go ahead and say I have $100,000. All right. We'll say Richard is my advisor. So again, by default, Richard and John's is Richard's associate, as we have built out in the business tab, will be automatically CC'd. But let's say I have a team office. So let's say Guckian Financial Solutions at incline.com is my team email. If you want to CC that team email on this introduction, you can do so. Again, you can just add as many emails as you would like additionally copied here in the introduction. And then we're going to say, would you like to recommend policies? And if you click yes here, you'll see that you have the option to choose the carrier for the policy. So in this case, let's go with Northwestern Mutual. And then you'll come down here and you'll add the policy. And you can actually just type in what is the policy number that you are recommending this client add. And so in our case, we'll do, let's say, 10, 10, 20, 24, 5. I'll go ahead and add that. And let's say they had one more. 10, 10, 20, 24, 6. Can add those. And now when I send the introduction, we'll go ahead and see this is reflected on the dashboard. So you can see when I hover over this, you'll see the recommended policies that I just added in the introduction. And when the client goes to start their application, those recommended policies are actually going to be pre-filled in the application for them. And so they won't have to do anything when it comes to the application policy review step. They can just click right through it and say, my advisor put this information in for me, and I am ready to proceed. And so that just really makes the process all the more quicker for them when they're going through the application.
Awesome. Thanks for that, David. I'm not getting any additional questions on the advisor portal, so I think it's okay if we go ahead and move along to the client experience and give people a preview of that.
Perfect. All right. Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but from the advisor portal, we've got Cora Nash here who has a $500,000 line of credit. So I'll go ahead and take you guys through her portal and just a quick overview of what your clients have access to. On the client portal homepage or their dashboard equivalent, you'll see that we always surface what their available credit is currently. They have visibility into their line amount, their current balance, as well as their rate. So you'll see we're showing not only the current effective APR, but also their spread on the prime rate. So again, Cora had a $500,000 line, and so her rate is at prime minus 150 bips. Also, we make it extremely easy to draw funds. We understand that that's going to be the primary reason your clients have an inclined line of credit is to come and use the line of credit. So in order to draw funds, it is very simple. They just come into the dashboard, click draw funds, write the amount they'd like to draw, let's say $10,000, choose the bank account, which they've already added, that they'd like the funds to be deposited to, and they submit the request. You'll see we come back here. They have 1 hour after submitting the request to change their mind and cancel it before we lock it in. And then once it's locked in after that hour, the fund should hit their account on the next banking day. So that's how easy it is to make a draw. Just like that, they come in, type the amount, choose the bank account, and hit submit, and they can access their funds, and it'll be in their account the next day. For managing bank accounts, they can add as many bank accounts as they would like, and we use a software integration called Plaid. And I won't go through this right now, but it's very simple. They can actually log in to their bank account through a little pop-up that shows up, just like you saw, and immediately choose from the bank accounts that they have supported which one they'd like to add to their inclined line of credit. It takes less than 3 minutes to do. Additionally, some other functionality that's kind of unique to the inclined line of credit is related to collateral updates. So Brenda mentioned earlier that we review policies twice per year, once on the anniversary and then once on the half anniversary. So every policy that's on the line of credit, we are actually reaching out to the home office and getting updated documents twice per year. And so if your clients are ever curious on, hey, what's my latest CCV or IFL, and they'd like to come and see that information, they can actually access that directly from the inclined line of credit because we're updating this and posting a new document every 6 months for every policy. And so that's a little bit of a unique functionality that your clients have access to here in the Inclined client site. And then they also, of course, will always have visibility into their collateral assignment document, their loan agreement, and then our privacy policy. All right. And then very similar to drawing funds, they can make a payment. I won't go through that step now, but it is very much the same. They can set up auto pay and go through that process with just as much ease. So that is just a very quick overview of the Inclined client site. You'll see we also have some fun graphics here that kind of show them the accumulation of their balance as it changes over time, how much they have available, and how much is currently drawn.
Hey, David, can you tell them which tab they go to or a client would go to be able to see their statement when it cycles out?
Yeah, absolutely. When they click Make Payment, that's going to open up a new window. And let me go ahead and I'll do this off screen so you guys don't have to see me go through the login process. But give me 1 second.
As David logs in, I want to reiterate one really important thing. We love Brenda and I love hearing from all of you, but I would tell you 99% of the emails that we get on a day-to-day basis are questions that you and the client can find right in your portal. So I just want to really encourage when you're wondering like what's the balance, what's the rate, when's the rate going to roll off? Log into the portal because you have so much line of sight and the team has done so much work to really update this that you really can self-serve.
I'll add to that while David's working on that, is the policies, our statements don't cycle out like month to month, like some lenders. It is from the date that the line is activated. So your client, they might be expecting to see a statement on, say, October 31st, and they'll be able to see it November 1st. That's not always the case. If their line was activated, say, September 17th, they might see their statement then mid-October. Okay, David, do we need to tell jokes now?
Tell some jokes. I am being a little slow to log in. I apologize, everyone.
One other thing about statements is here at Inclined, we're not tax professionals and we're never giving tax advice to your clients. They should consult with their tax professional. However, depending on what they use their line for, some or all of their interests can be tax deductible. And once a year in January, there's an additional statement that they will get. They can get it out of the portal as well that will show interest only, and they can hand that to their CPA. So clients really love that option. I also wanted to mention if any associates or advisors are here and are like, man, this is really cool. Maybe I should get my own line of credit. Guess what? You can. It's a great way for you to test us out, see the experience front to back, both as a client advisor associate and the client applicant borrower. Just to remember when you go in to send yourself the introduction, use a personal email address. You cannot use the email address that you use to sign into the advisor portal with because we recognize you as the associate advisor.
Awesome. Well, sorry everyone for taking a little bit longer. We have some added security when you go to the payments functionality to try and prevent fraud risk. And so I didn't want to make you all watch me struggle through that added security, but on our test environment. But all right, when you click go to make payment and you're taken to our payment portal, you'll see your clients can come in and make a payment. They can set up auto pay if they would like by saying manage auto pay. We can set a frequency. Maybe we want to do it on the due date, once a period, twice a period. Let's just go ahead and say due date. The base auto payment configuration will always pay whatever interest exists on the line. If they would like to elect to add additional principal, they can. So let's say I always want to pay interest, and then I'll add, let's say, $5 of additional principal. And then I'll add the bank account that I want this payment to go from. And that is as easy as it is to go and add auto payments. While that's processing, I'll go ahead and transfer back to the line and I'll show you guys where you get statements. So you'll see we have activity, summary, and documents. And if we come into documents, we'll have this section here for statements and they can download or view their document immediately in the web view. And so you can see here that I've got my statement that breaks down all of my interest, remaining due, payments that I may have made during that statement period. And so all within the Inclined Client Payments portal, they have the ability to come in and view all of this information, as well as just a quick summary of their activity. You'll also see that auto pay is now on. It finally went through. And so that'll show to the client there on if they have that on. And they can come back and configure or manage auto pay at any time and change this, update the bank account associated, etc. All of that is possible here in the Incline client site.
They also have a skip payment button, which is sometimes helpful if they're on auto pay and they say, "Oh, nope, I'm going on a trip this month," and they can click skip the payment. And makes it pretty simple.
Great. Just looking at our time, I'm going to go ahead and transition us back to our slides. Thanks,
Thanks
David, so
again,
much.
David.
Yeah, for that tour. That was really helpful. We've got a lot of good comments that came in from that. Really appreciate you. And I just want to call out also that David and his team are doing excellent work to continuously help us expand our eligibility and the policies, the carriers that we're able to accept. So if you are anxiously awaiting to be able to send specific clients to us, David, just know that David is working in the background constantly to try and help us expand as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. And just one quick thing from my end, we love hearing from you all. The only way that our product really caters to your all's needs is by hearing your feedback. And so any feedback that you have, I'm sure Elena will share out kind of my contact information here after this webinar, but would love to hear from you. Improvements that you'd like, whether it be to the advisor portal or the application process, feel free to send them my way because all of that gets incorporated into what we're actually building here at Incline.
Yep. Yep, we are a feedback-rich environment, so send it on over. We know you want variable, universal, and securities backed. It's not happening this year, but we do have an appetite for it, so hang on tight. All right, final next steps, just to recap. Get signed up for the portal if you're not on there. If one or two of your team members are, but not the whole team, please take a few minutes and get everybody onboarded up to the portal. You can see from that demo that David gave you, it's super powerful. It helps you guys to really have the keys to the Corvette. I mean, there's really nothing that you can't do and make this process an exceptional client experience, as well as make your life really easy for how to work with us. Find those right clients, run the policy loan reports. That's your best next step. Log in and start sending out introductions to your clients, and then you'll have line of sight, like you saw right in the portal, on how to track their progress and their status.
All
Great.
right. So we're going to go ahead and leave this screen up so that you all can copy down contact information if you'd like. And then this is where we'll also jump into some of our Q&A. We've got some great questions coming in from various individuals. So Monica, Brenda, David, get ready. Here they come. A couple questions came through. Obviously, we are in a very unique rate environment and have been for some time. To summarize a couple of these questions that have come through, if the insurance carrier is offering a better rate on their policy loan, why use Inclined?
It's a great question. I'll take it, and then Brenda, tack on any thoughts. First of all is oftentimes the deductibility of interest. So when you take a policy loan, you cannot deduct the interest. And so if your clients are using their line of credit, reoccurring business, real estate, we highly encourage that they establish a line. And then the convenience and the ease. So I always thought for the last 2 years, I thought rate would trump everything. And I will tell you the number one thing that I hear from every client is they love how simple and fast and convenient it is for them to access these funds when they do need it.
I'll echo that with the efficiency. Those clients that have multiple policies, if they're leveraging those, we all know it's kind of a pain for them. They have to borrow from each policy. They have to request the amounts from each policy. If they're doing a project that's taking time and they're making additional draws, they're having to go through that process time again and again. Where here it's all consolidated into one place, one easy draw amount. And as rates continue to come down, I think you'll see probably next year sometime we'll be on par with most of those policy rates again. Whether we ever get back to that 3% floor rate, who knows? But in this environment, I think if they, again, with the tax deductibility, have them talk to their CPA. It's all dependent on what they're using the funds for. I spoke to a client this afternoon. He's buying a boat. The boat dealer is incentivizing him for using their financing. And he said he can deduct the interest because it's going to be considered a second home. Must be some heck of a boat. But I told him with ours is if it is something that is interest deductible, double check with his CPA, but he should be able to do that with our line of credit as well as he could with a boat loan. So just something, to add there for them.
I'm going to add just my 2 cents to that as well. If you have a specific client case that you would like to talk with us about, and what makes the most sense for them, Monica and Brenda love having those conversations. Send us your information or reach out to them on the screen here. Send them an email. They'd love to talk you through those client cases. All right. Question: is it easy to update an address, email, or phone number for a client?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can take this one. Um, Typically, in order for us to update an address, an email, or a phone number, we just need the client to initiate that because that's their personal information that we're updating. So if they send us an email at support@incline.com, we can go through that process with them, and it's very straightforward from our end to get that updated.
Great. What would the process be for a client to add additional policies to a line?
So they can't add policies once the line is active. That's why it's very important for you to triple check with them that all of the policies that are eligible that they may want to consider pledging, that they understand that, and then pre-fill those for them. So if they had, let's say they are like, oh, I love this iLock. I want to take these other 5 policies and do this. They would have to apply for a second line, but then we have householding, so we could then merge it once those lines are active. Just remember, it's all about ownership, so they have to be owned by the same person when they go to pledge those policies.
Great. For clients with existing lines of credit with a third-party bank, can we just review for our viewers the process to pay off that loan, what that process looks like?
Absolutely. So the client would request that their current lender revert their balance back as a policy loan or policy loans. If they have multiple policies, their lender will make that request and they'll notify the carrier how to distribute those balances to each policy. And then once that is reverted back to the carrier as policy loans, the lender releases their collateral assignments. And at that point is where we'll step back in and finish our underwriting process, putting our assignments in place, paying off those newly created policy loans, and then it becomes an inclined line of credit balance, with the remaining, of course, available to your clients.
One thing to that I also want to add is sometimes clients are like, "Ooh, I don't know if I want to go through the work of releasing this assignment. What will Incline really give me?" They want to know up front, what's my rate? What's my credit limit? We loan to value 95%. You can see on the rate card there what tier they would fall in based on looking at their product, but they can always get pre-approved with us with the existing assignment. And then once they have that pre-approval, they can then go to work and release the assignment. And Brenda and I, we do this all the time, all day long. So if you have a client that it's their first time doing it, or it's a bank intermediary that you're not quite sure what the process should look like, reach out to us. We have really good step-by-step instructions. Our team members, James and Izzy, can help to do a little hand holding. We can't do this part of the process for them, but we can sure help ease the pain.
Great. Thanks for that answer, ladies. And I think just to reemphasize from some of the questions that I'm seeing, that process of releasing the assignment does need to be initiated by your client, because it's their policies and their existing assignment with that third party bank. It's their relationship. So that does need to be initiated by them. But our team is here to support and help. And so if they need instructions on how to do that, our support team is certainly able to provide those instructions. If a client has policies with multiple carriers, can those be combined into a single iLock at this time?
Email David.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, someday, someday.
Someday.
They're working on it.
Actively working on it. And then we had just a couple of questions related to clients with existing iLocks. We had clients from the early days where we could only take 4 policies per iLock. What is our current process for allowing them to merge their lines and household?
Yeah, that's happening as we speak. So as clients have expired whatever fixed rate they were on, we're proactively reaching out to those clients to let them know that they are now eligible to merge or household those lines. So they should be getting communication from us. If they reach out to you, you can always look in your portal and see what their rate would be and when that's going to expire, and then probably tell them to check their inbox because they likely have ignored our emails to them know that they're eligible to do so. But they can always reach out with questions around that. Happy to talk them through that.
Go back here to the contact. All right, I know that we are just a little bit over time. If there are any remaining questions, please feel free to send those in. We want to thank everybody who attended today. This recording will be going out to all of you so that you're welcome to watch it again. We'll also include some resources. Let's see. One question that just came in: how many banks or credit unions are doing the funding on our back end?
We have 2 currently, Mechanics Bank, which has been with us from the very beginning, and now IFB, Idaho First Bank. And we are in lots and lots of conversations with many, many banks and credit unions that are very excited about the work that we're doing. As you guys can imagine, this is a lossless opportunity for them. And so they really love what we do because we remove for the banks the friction point and the need for them to have to employ real life humans with subject matter expertise and cash value lending. We're replacing all of that for them with our technology and our team. And so it's really a win-win for everyone.
Thanks for that answer, Monica.
I want to call out one more thing. If you've not wrote down the 1-855-282-0441 phone number, please do it or take a screenshot. I want to let everyone know that that support line takes you to a real human. So when you have clients that have an urgent question and or you have an urgent question about something, the client's coming in 20 minutes and you've got to look for something that you can't find or you need an explanation, please call that number. We have an extremely high rate of not only returning calls very quickly, but we pick up typically within the first 10 to 20 seconds. And you get a real human. You don't get lost in a recorded system.
Absolutely. Again, we really strive to provide an excellent client experience and support your teams as much as possible as well. All right, with that, I think we've answered all of the questions. Again, if you have additional ones, feel free to reach out to your key account executive, whether that's Monica for Northwestern Mutual or Brenda for our other carriers, Guardian Mass and Independence. We are so thankful that you joined us today. We hope that this was helpful, and please look for the recording in your inboxes tomorrow. Take care, everyone.